what Allison should know.
What is internet anyway?
Internet is that
massive computer
right,
network.
the one that's becoming really big now.
What do you mean? That's big. Wait, how does one? What do you write to it like mail?
No, a lot of people use it and communicate. I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
Tonight, the information superhighway and one of its main thoroughfares, an online network called Internet.
In 1981, only 213 computers were hooked to the internet. As the new year begins, an estimated 2.5 million computers will be on the network, serving as many as 20 million people.
If somebody was to put the question to you about the magnitude of what you think you've launched, how big do you think your product or your service is?
Well, it's impossible to tell. When we first launched, we were hoping for, maybe 400, 500 people. Harvard didn't have a Facebook, so that's the gap that we were trying to fill. And now we're at 100,000 people, so who knows where we're going next.
These are not 3 separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone.
Americans share photos on Instagram. A company with only 13 employees bought today by Facebook for $1 billion.
Teen suicide rates had been declining for decades, but new data from the Centers for Disease Control shows that the numbers went up between 2010 and 2015. Now, we don't know the exact reason for the uptick, but a new study in the Journal of Clinical Psychological Studies suggests it might have something to do with a sharp rise of the use of social media.
Students at Franklin High School have the all clear today after police figured out that a threat that was posted to social media is not credible.
A heartbreaking look at the dangers of cyberbullying through the eyes of a grieving family. Their 12-year-old daughter took her own life after they say she was targeted by her classmates on social media.
Back in the day when we were young, people would bully people by passing notes or saying things and the word would get out. Now with social media and cell phones, it just takes what we had to experience as kids and takes it to another level, and the consequences are greater because it reaches more people.
Cyberbullying, using the internet or cell phones to threaten, spread rumors, or post doctored photographs. According to recent studies, this kind of bullying is on the rise. By one count, as many as 1 in 3 kids is being victimized.
Cyberbullying can take many forms. It can be a teen putting something on social media and targeting a particular person to embarrass them. It could be sending messages through social media or via text of a threatening nature. You could also switch gears, and it could also be a sexual nature of sharing information. If someone sends them certain types of pictures and to embarrass somebody or to not be discreet and forward into other kids. So there are a whole lot of ways by using the internet. When you say cyberbullying, it can be embarrassing, it can be threatening, it can be something that makes someone ashamed and humiliating. It's really using social media to a big degree to harm someone else.
I think children, teenagers today face such greater issues involving bullying, issues within dating relationships that we were never presented with, and I think it's very stressful, and it's very emotional. It puts a lot of pressure on children to conform or worrying about what people will think of them, and so it's definitely an issue that we worry about as prosecutors and as parents.
See, this is the thing with cyberbullying. It gives small groups of people a lot of power, because it could just be a few kids in the school and then they spread it out. So what I think is the majority of the students and all of the teachers are supportive of the victim, right? And so it's incumbent upon everybody in the school to report it when they have it. And you can help us. Take screenshots of what you see. So if it's on someone's Snapchat or someone's social media, screenshot it to save it for us and then bring it to a teacher's attention so that we'll save it. And that's another thing y'all need to know. I mean, if we have a suspect, we'll get their phones. They'll never get their phones back. We'll download everything in their phone. Let me repeat that. We will download everything in their phone and see what they've been doing. We may even do a search warrant on their house. And we never do search warrants in the middle of the afternoon. There'll be a knock on the door at 4:30 a.m. before their parents or anybody gets up. We'll knock down the door and we'll go through the entire house.
Tomball officers say not only could they be forced to go to another school, they might face felony charges. Teenage sexting is something officers say they're dealing with more often, a problem that could linger well past graduation.
As far as if you do take photos and you post those online, or you send them out to other students or friends and you're sharing these pictures of what is a child, naked pictures of a child, that you can face, serious felony offenses, which can involve prison time, because it is so harmful to the child who's in the picture. So I'm a big believer, and I know John is a big believer, in holding accountable the juveniles or the young adults who are sharing those photos or cyberbullying, because it does have those long-term consequences. And when it does come to the attention of law enforcement, when law enforcement does investigate and we know who is doing it, those juveniles, those students, those young adults are going to be held accountable, so we can protect more children in the future, and also to make that child or the victim feel better knowing that someone is doing something about it. So when law enforcement, when prosecutors don't do anything, I think that causes more emotional harm, like nobody even cares. But we're here today to tell you that we're both very serious about prosecuting these offenses, and we will file felony charges in those situations.
And let's be clear, it is illegal to send a naked picture of yourself to somebody if you're under 18. It's as simple as that. So if someone is under 18, they could take a picture of their junk or their breasts and they send it to somebody else, that person can technically be charged with the felony of obscenity. Okay? The person who receives it, if they don't immediately delete it, they can be charged with the felony of obscenity. And worse, if they are outside of 2 years apart in age, they can be charged with child pornography, which nobody would ever want that on their record. And if they're 17, they would have to register as a sex offender for the rest of their lives. So between dating couples, we get that may happen, but you never know what's going to happen in that relationship. And once they break up and they start disseminating it to other people, that's usually when we get involved. But we need y'all to know is that the moment you take that picture and you're under 18 and share it with somebody and they receive it, everybody has committed a law violation there.
Prosecutors today filed charges against the Orono High School student who police say made threats to shoot up the school. The students and faculty at Orono schools were on lockdown for more than 5 hours yesterday. Police later found the student inside a classroom but say he did not have a weapon on him.
And keep in mind, this also extends to threat cases. I mean, y'all have seen where people say, I'm going to shoot up the school, and then they put it on social media, they're going to shoot up the school. Well, because of, down in Santa Fe, there are a lot of parents who are very upset about losing their kids. A lot of times when these school threats get on the internet and become social media, the federal government gets involved, and the FBI gets involved, and it becomes a whole nother level of offense. So with great access comes a lot of responsibility, and people can get themselves in a lot of trouble. I think it's pretty safe to say that if you go to Parkland, Florida, or Santa Fe, Texas, those parents will tell you it's no laughing matter. And if you can't be affected by other teenagers being killed 25, 30 miles from your house, then I don't know what I can say. Generally, the first response is always, well, I didn't mean it. Or I was only joking. Obviously, we'll look at every case. We're going to look at how that affects everybody, and I think everybody around the teenager who says it knows whether they were joking or not. You know, I think there are teachers who are just trying to teach kids, and they have a right to be in that classroom and teach without being afraid of another shooting.
Law enforcement has to respond as if it actually will happen, could happen. They have to treat it seriously because it is unknown when a person makes a threat what their intent is at that point. And because of the repercussions of affecting all the other children at the school, and also the possibility of what could happen, law enforcement always has to treat those as if it's about to happen. So they will come and seize the child's devices. They'll do search warrants. They'll make sure they're protecting everyone because that is just the appropriate response.